I'm born in Nyabikenke in 1947, and from a Rwanda woman, my mother, and a Belgian father. My father was mining engineer. He had different mines here in neighborhood, but also the mine of Nyabikenke. So my father and my mother wasn't married, so I went to the primary school of Kanyanza, and at that moment I considered myself as Rwandan. They call me Kazungu, but everyone, there was a lot of Kazungus there in the neighborhood. So it wasn't different for me. Till a moment that the school teacher said to me that I had to leave the primary school of Kanyanza and go to another school for Bazungus. I didn't know what it was, but finally it was another school in Nyangezi, in Congo, up to Bukavu. And there I saw for the first time people like me, who have a clear skin and Kazungus, let's say. And that's how I discovered that I was slightly different of other kids in Rwanda. In Congo, it was very tough for me. It was very difficult. It was another mentality. And I was scared of the Congolese. And once I tried to escape from the school. So then after that, they decided to bring me back to Rwanda, and it was here in Mzimana, close to here. And there I discovered again that the Metis were again together in a kind of board school. I couldn't understand why, because I could see that I wasn't really Muzungu, I wasn't Rwandan either, but why they put us together, I couldn't understand. So I discovered this later on. Where I was in Nyabikenke, I was with other kids. We are playing together. I was running after the cows like everyone. So they called me Kazungu. Okay, I could see that my skin was a little bit clear, but I was not the only one Kazungu there. You see, there was no, I didn't remember any discrimination on that age. But when they put us together, that's why I started to realize that I was different. And later on, when the Maris, the brothers of Maris of Zumana told us that they're going to bring us to Belgium, then really I realized that I was different. I didn't know why they wished to do that, but I told myself, am I white or am I black? I didn't know. And this is a big problem. Want everyone to be in one of other group. It's difficult to make a choice between your mother and your father. I knew his name, of course, but he didn't hold me, he didn't say hi, no. But everyone is saying, this one is from Jangwe. Jangwe, it's him. He was living here. So I knew that it was my father, but he didn't talk to me, he never talked to me, no. I remember also that once I had to go to an office here, I think here in Muhanga, with my mother, and she had to sign a contract, a kind of contract or something like that. All these things I remember, but not really good. And also I remember that I left the country, all my family in Nyabikenke, without even saying goodbye. But I discovered later on that the contract she signed, it was mentioned that I will go to Belgium to study and come back, which was not true. It was a lie. And also I discovered that when I came on the airport of Brussels, there was a lady who was waiting for me, an old lady. I remember she took me with a big Mercedes car to Antwerp, in the north of, not in the city, in the north of Antwerp, in a very fancy place. And there again, it was a kind of orphanage for rich people. But it was not only for Metis children, it was also for white kids. And I do remember also that each weekend people came to watch us. This one is a nice boy, this one is a nice girl, etc., etc. And then waiting till someone chose you. I remember that once there was a family came to, they say first this lady of the orphanage said to me, I have a family for you. I say, okay. And they have already a child, a young boy, a white boy from here. I say, okay. Then the family, they came and they were watching on me. I have to say hello to them in Flemish, of course. And okay, they say, okay, he can go with us. We will see what will be happened. And okay, I went to their place. Of course, there was a small boy for 5 years, something like that. But myself, I was already 13 years. And but the connection with these people was very good. So because they were allowed to bring me back to the place and say no, it doesn't work, but they didn't. So I stayed there. I was lucky because some of all the children, Metis children who went to wrong families and etc., etc. But I was lucky. I was lucky. Even later on, when really I decided to come back to Rwanda, they didn't oppose about it, not really. They were a little bit disappointed, but they didn't oppose it against my plans. In the whole school where I was, it was again an kind of border school. I was the only one not white. Yeah. And everyone is watching you. If you do something wrong, they've seen it. Eh? So I have to be, always to be the best. No choice. And I decide to make a plan which will bring back to my country, Rwanda. But it was a plan, but it was a secret plan, of course. And the plan was, I was thinking which job can bring me back to my country. There were not a lot. Only to be missionary again and come back, or maybe military, but then journalism. I discovered that someone who was one of my friends became cameraman of a television station somewhere in Congo. So after the college, I did Greek Latin. After the college, I went to the film school. There were two of them in Belgium. The old one, the best one, called Narafi. And I finished there. It took 5 years. And I finished there. And when I finished, the first documentary I did was here in 1974. It was not political or something like that. It was the good work of the Catholic Church. Yeah, it was about that. And then with this documentary, I made very clear to the TV station that I would like to do things not only in Rwanda, but in Africa in general. So how I travel whole Africa, of course. I cover a lot of wars, Angola, Mozambique, Eritrea, everywhere. I went, even in Rwanda, I came several times. And in my mind, it was to try to search my mother to see where she was. And also, I wasn't really sure if it was still alive. Because when I left the country, I remember 1959, there was a kind of war going on. And a lot of people of my family were being killed at that moment. Others went to flee to Uganda, Congo, and everywhere. And no one, when I came, each time I come and ask about Mamba, but no one could tell me where she was. So I have to come back again, because I did my work as he is doing now. Then after the hours, after the job, I go to the bars and try to know information, etc., etc. That's how it was. And other documentary I made here, the real reason behind it was to find my mother. Of course, my mother was Tutsi, and a lot of Tutsis of the Nyabikenke flee the country, of course. But finally, I found someone. Someone contacted me from into there, telling me that he knew the place where my mother was living. And finally, she was there in the neighborhood, not on the same place exactly, but she was there almost in the neighborhood. And she was completely alone. All the family was gone or killed. And she became blind also. I was trying to get her to Belgium to see if they can do something on our eyes, but the ophthalmologist, the doctor at that moment, John Newport, who was in Butaria, he was Metis himself, by the way, American Metis. He told me, no, it is not possible. She will not resist the transport, etc. So I decided to ask the bishop at that moment if she could stay here in Kapgai. But this was very tough. I remember I was in his office, and he looked at me. He said, "You are the son of Raphael Jangu?" I said, "Yes, but I don't really know him." Okay, he said, "You know, he wasn't my friend." I said, "I don't know." So I was a little bit disappointed, but at least he said, "About your mother, I talked already with the sisters. If you pay, it's okay." I said, "I will pay." She could move from Nyabikenga to the sisters of Vizera Maria. Yeah? And she stayed there long, not to complete her life, but so there was a place which we can come back each year to visit her and to talk with her. And but finally I took her from there to another place, and she died there. Yeah. But at that moment, when we made the film, what you saw on the my small kids, you saw my small, now they are. They asked me, "But we have now a grandmother, but who is our grandfather?" But myself, I was not really interested in my father. And But they continued to asking the question. So then I decided, okay, I will search on him. And finally, as you saw, I found him in the south of France at Beaulieu-sur-Mer, very close to Monaco. And finally, he recognized me. He said, okay, you are my son, it's true. He made all the documents and everything. And we became friends, really. After giving him everything, he became my really father. Then he asked me, do you know what's happened with my property in Shogwe here? I say, no, I don't know. I have no any information about that. So I start making research on it. And finally, I found a place, and I meet someone who was at that moment representing RPF in Brussels, Jacques Biozagara. He knew the place because he was also from this school, very close to here, the Protestants. And he said to me, if ever we took over, you will get back. What's happened? Seeing my mother again, it was it's something which is very difficult to explain. The smell of your mother, it's in your mind. You don't forget. What did she say to me? She couldn't say a lot of things because, yeah, we didn't understand each other. My Kinyarwanda was very poor to talk really with her. But later on, she told that I was in the family of my father. I said, no, I wasn't there. I was in another family. She couldn't understand this kind of thing. And also she told that I will come back because this was the agreement. And she thought maybe it was because of me, because I didn't like her or something. It was very complicated. But finally, she understood what's happened. Yeah. 2 months or 3 months after that, I came to Belgium. There was a government paper which I didn't got. We didn't receive it. We didn't know. Even my parents didn't know about that. Which said that all the Metis who came in 1960 to Belgium, who were not adopted by a Belgian family or didn't find their father, they were not Belgian anymore. So I discovered this much later, that I wasn't Belgian. I went to the embassy and I said, look, I'm born there and there. I make all the explanation. And the guy started laughing, saying, no, you are not Rwandan. You are not Rwanda. I said, why not? I'm born in Rwanda, except, no. You know the nationality in our country going from father to son. And your father is Belgian, eh? But at the same time, I wasn't Belgian anymore. So I became stateless. That's why I start a kind of fight against this kind of thing, Belgian government things. I start making of my first, I was already in the media, and I made my first documentary about that in 1974, telling the story of this kind of people in Belgium. Then I made the second one, it was done my own story. And I made another one called La Fille du Grand Monsieur, which was a story about a Metis woman, who was the daughter of Heinrich Bethe, who was the chief of the German army before the Belgians. I discovered also that Richard Kant had also a daughter here in Rwanda. And I was starting making a film about that, but it was complicated. The Germans doesn't want to accept it. You see, this story of Metis is going on. Even today, there is a lot of Metis children from the Chinese, from the Turkey, in Congo, especially a lot in Congo, but also in Rwanda. But finally, in Belgium, I start, not only me, but to some friends, we start a movement to be recognized 100% by the Belgians. Because we are born here in the Belgian period. This was Belgian soil. It was a colonial period. And there is a law, I knew that, who said that if a child is born, have to be declared in 14 days after his birthplace, and they didn't do that. And they were responsible, not my mother. My father was responsible, and the Belgian government was responsible. So I started a kind of political fight, if you want. Everyone was agreed that Belgium made a big mistake. And the prime minister at that moment, he was Charles Michel, which was on the European Parliament now. He excused himself for the fault what the Belgian and the Catholic Church did on us. 75 years, I was born again. I get my certificate. I think we are the really ambassadors between Belgium and Rwanda. Some of them can do a lot of things here in Rwanda. There can be a win-win situation in business or other kind of things. People of my age, of course, maybe they will not find their mothers, but they will find maybe other people of the family. So that's why this documentary, which made by my son, called Belgian Stored Children, is interesting because one of the guys, he found his mother in the Bugesera. He started a completely new life. It's identity. Identity is something which is very important for everyone. Everyone. If you don't have your identity, you don't have proudness, you are a loser. You need a gachiro. You need proudness about yourself, about your past, about your family. That's what you make your identity yourself. But if you know who your father is, if you don't know who your mother is, you don't know who your uncle is, you don't know which country are you from, you are nothing. So I start already by the education of my kids. I have 2 sons, I have 3 grandchildren, and my sons are educated to be Belgian and Rwandan. And I told them, you are not half. You are 100% the product of your mother, you are 100% the product of your father. You are 200%, not half. Look, Africa and Europe are almost the same past, the same history. If Europe, in my point of view, is going down, Rwanda is going up, Africa is going up, but they can meet each other, and they can meet each other by the Metis, by cultural mixing and physical mixing. I think we have to put a lot of effort, our country, in education, in proudness of our kids. And the only way to do that is to bring them in contact with their grandparents. The grandparents have to tell them what they did before. And I started also, I told you about a library here in Mwanga, a library called Pourquoi Pas. So we have to learn, not only the kids, also other people, where is the place of our country in all the world? Where is the place of our country in Africa? You see, you have to understand where you are to get proud of yourself. You can only learn this by reading. We have also to encourage the Rwandans to write books, to tell their story, even with the media, with everything. And we have also on the top of the library a place where you can drink and eat something. We want to attract a lot of people, people from Europe, from Belgium, to the library as well. And later on, when the library will set really strong, then we try to make buses with the books that can go in the village here around. And also, as I told you before, I want also to be involved, to start a small book. I'm happy here. Again, it's of course difficult to make a choice between your father and your mother. So I'm living with one foot in Belgium and another one here in Rwanda. You see, what they call in French grand écart, which is not easy, but it's okay. I have a lot of friends in Belgium. Sometimes they come here. I have a lot of friends here in Rwanda. So that's my life. Yeah. The message is that everyone can do wrong thing in his life. And if you have a child somewhere, it's never too late to try also to find the child, to find your boy or your girl, and to tell her, look, I'm your father, I did something wrong, I apologized, and this way, these people, this father will be also complete his life, and the child will complete his life as well. So the connection between them is also very good, the same as with the mother, of course. But the mother, in my point of view, is more important than the father. I don't know why, but that's how it is. That's how I feel. And in this kind of problematic, it's the mother who was victim. The mother and the child were the most victim. The father, he was irresponsible. If he recognized that he was irresponsible, okay, then we can restart life again.